One thing that we have found is that, one of the things that's essential in being successful is building good habits. And we have found that building good habits, it's kind of like a 3-piece tool belt.
Yeah.
And it kind of starts with one of the things that you know a lot about, and it's like preparing your body. What are your thoughts?
No, yeah, and that's a great question. I can definitely start out on the movement piece, because I think movement is essential to everything that we do, and it comes back to preparing your body for the work that you're going to do. And I think oftentimes people think that it needs to be something complex, like I need to exercise, I need to, whatever it is, but it honestly does not take long. It's just dynamic movements, and it's taking the joints through the range of motion so that you can start to get blood flow to the tissues. You can start to warm up the joints. It's also getting the blood out your extremities. And so,
like stretching?
Stretching or dynamic movement. So I think of stretching as like holding a position, where a dynamic movement is more taking my joint through a range of motion. So it's really preparing for the work that you do. So you watch any professional athlete, like a batter in the on-deck circle, they're taking cuts to prepare their body for that movement. Working out, they should think of themselves the same way. They should be preparing their body in the motions and in the postures that they're about ready to perform. And I oftentimes say that it's small things on a consistent basis have the biggest impact long term. And so even if it's like 2 to 3 minutes before a shift, but you're doing that maybe 1 to 3 times per day, every single day, that starts to have a compounding impact on the way that your body moves. If you're just doing like a stretch and flex 1 time per week, you're probably not going to maintain your mobility the same way. And so I think it all comes back to consistency in the small things on a regular basis. So I think, it's small steps on a consistent basis that help prepare the body for that activity. And then Dylon, you're the natural expert to talk about the next step, which is hydration and how to prepare from that perspective.
Absolutely. Yeah. And hydration, speaking hydration, it's so simple, but it's 70% of Americans are chronically dehydrated. So obviously we're talking about hydration in the workplace right now, but I think I'm most passionate about just quality of life. And that's when we can move from compliance to culture and showing that we care for people. And in my opinion, hydration being the second piece of this tool belt it's more than just staying safe on the job. It's about improving your quality of life, which is probably going to make you a higher producer or performer on the job, but you're probably going to perform safer as well. As far as like actual actionable habits when it comes to hydration, we have very simple protocol, and that's hydration starts at home, as cliche as it is, and as it should, but a typical, daily routine for anybody in this trade or industry or just in life in general is challenge yourself to get 10 to 24 ounces of water within the first hour of waking up. I would bet that if you did that daily, it would compound over time. It would kickstart your brain, kickstart your digestive system, your metabolism, naturally lubricate your body. You're going to feel better. Your body is about 80% water on average. And we need to make sure that we get that going right away. Before you run to the gas station to get your energy drinks or your coffee or what, we have to get that water in the body first. So that would be very actionable for a worker in this space, is get water in your system right away. And then from there, another actionable piece would be, we use the Galpin equation. It's just your body weight divided by 30, and whatever number that is how many ounces of water you should have every 20 minutes during work. So I'm 210 pounds. You divide that by 30, that's 7. I should be having about 7 ounces of water every 20 minutes of work. Now, Ken, is that feasible and actionable in the field all the time? No, it's not, right? Like 20 minutes is up, I got to come down and it doesn't happen like that, but it's a great guideline. And on average, it turns out to be, a bottle to a bottle and a half an hour with some sprinkled in electrolytes, in there as well. And that's will allow us to build in margin to make sure that we don't get into a tough situation. So having a plan again, and having it a piece of your daily check-in, there has to be some self-check-in ownership down to the field, because management can only do so much. They can't force water down your throats, right? They can give you some good information that hopefully allows you to understand the why and make sure you understand it's more than just staying safe on the job. This is going to make me a better person in general outside of work. And I think that's part of the culture aspect, Ken, I would imagine.
Yeah, 100%. When you think about just outside of work and what you're bringing home to your families, what you're bringing home long term, and I mean, just the trade in general, the perception that line workers have, right, kind of being the outlaws and the habits that they've created, a lot of times are negatively impactful. You're dehydrated, you're tired, you're beat up by the time that you get off work. So you go home and you're trying to find some kind of relief, and you grab an alcoholic beverage or whatever it might be, and it just depletes it even more. And then, that personality wears off onto your family, causes some issues. You're up late, can't sleep well, back at work, already dehydrated again.
Yeah. To kind of pick up on what you're saying, as far as, starting off your day with the water, from a PPE point of view, that's kind of like, when you're starting to, put on your gear for the day, from a hydration, you start off with that water.
Yeah.
Well, from a PPE point of view, we feel at the base layer.
Yeah.
The base layer, the piece that's going to be up against your skin, that's the foundation.
Mm-hmm.
And so that is the piece that's going to be absorbing perspiration. Yeah. And so, and having the right piece, the right base layer on is paramount. And it's huge for you to wear a fabric that's going to absorb, spread, and keep you dry. You definitely don't want something that's going to absorb perspiration,
right?
Because everything else starts with that base layer.
Yeah.
And so just like you have to have that glass of water, no matter what else you have on the outside, it all starts with that base layer.
Yep.
And that's why we believe in having a light, inherent fabric that's not going to absorb the perspiration, but spread it and dry it and keep you dry and cool, and at the same time protect you.
Yeah, and we use the terminology internal PPE.
Yes.
We've used that, a handful of years, and people makes you sit and think, wow, okay, it actually starts from the human, and Kevin and I have talked about this a lot. And what Vimocity does is 100% a piece of internal PPE. And, the most valuable asset to any company is that crew member. Doesn't matter what kind of outer external PPE you have. I mean, all the technologies are unbelievable to protect you and build in margin, but we're also all humans, and it starts from the inside. And, so that internal PPE in combination with the base layer external PPE is so important just to build in that capacity.
With the whole outer and internal PPE, there's one thing that I kind of like to think about is us as a human, right? We're our biggest tool. If your truck had an engine light or a weird noise, you're going to take it straight to the dealership or to the mechanic and get it checked out. You got elements or you got dehydration, you brush it off. Mm-hmm. But that's the one tool that you're going to use the rest of your life. That's the one tool that you use to provide for your family. Like, your body is your biggest tool, and we just brush it off and don't look at it like that.
That's a great point.
Can you imagine, Ken, if your truck changed its oil on its own, it replaced tires that needed to be worn out, and yet we don't treat our bodies that way. It wants to do all that stuff. It wants to repair itself, but oftentimes we don't put it in the best environment to actually be able to perform at its best and to heal itself, to regulate itself well. And so the more we can incorporate these different components, what we're doing is we're just allowing the body to do its job effectively. And it's the most incredible self-healing, self-performing thing out there, but we've got to put it in the right environment.
Absolutely. I think it brings up almost maybe the tool belt, the fourth tool, and that's the mental awareness too, as because you're talking about the batter, everything that you do, you're preparing, what can go wrong. So it's going to be hot. I got to get hydrated. And it's not right when I start. It's mentally preparing before you go out there. I got to move because I'm doing this. I'm going to be in this environment, so I'm going to pick the right PPE. So it all starts mentally, and then, what hazards are out there so that we're mentally prepared for that, go through those motions.
Ken, that's the the mental part is a great point and definitely an essential part of the tool belt. And so that tool belt really is, it's the movement, it's the hydration, it's suiting up, wearing the right PPE, and then there is the mental aspect. So it's a 4-piece tool belt. And as long as you're using all 4 of these pieces, you're putting yourself in the best situation to be successful.
Absolutely.
I love that.